Today we are here with Sara Costantini from CRIF.
I'm the regional director for CRIF in the UK and Ireland. I started as a programmer in Rome for a very small programming company.
So how many countries did it start off with serving, and how have you seen that grow over the years?
We started exactly from the UK.
Oh, wow.
And this was 1997, 2000. I love traveling. I love my job. I do it with a lot of passion, but all that glitters is not gold to some extent, as it's hard work. It has always been hard work.
Yeah. How do those two things sort of coincide there, and how is CRIF kind of utilising AI in that sense?
We are using AI and Gen AI based on the data that we have. Of course, be very respectful when it comes to work and respect of work, but at the same time adding quality to what we deliver and what we do.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Fintech Diaries. Today we are here with Sara Costantini from CRIF. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Amazing.
My name is Sara Costantini, and I'm the regional director for CRIF in the UK and Ireland. Basically responsible for developing business and data for the finance and insurance industry. I've been appointed managing director since 2015, and I've been working for the company for more than 20 years, so a long career within the same company. My education and my background is a scientific one. I took a degree in computer science in Rome, La Sapienza, and then I've been traveling a lot. I've been living in Austria, Germany, Russia, UK, Ireland, and then back to Italy.
Wow.
My personal passions are a lot. I'm fond of foreign languages, and I'm very curious about cultural diversity, cultural integration. And very happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So you've had quite a varied career then. It started in science, you said, and then ended up in finance. I mean, how did that kind of come about?
It was with lots of different works I've been applied to. I started as a programmer in Rome for a very small programming company. And I have a story to tell about this. And then I moved back, traveling around Austria particularly. And then all of a sudden I decided to join CRIF. I had an interview there. And I was very fascinating about the story of CRIF and how this was created, this was founded from the very capable hand of the current president and CEO of the group and my personal manager, my boss, as he had a dream of going to the US. And this UR journey taught him a lot, took the inspiration of how to create a credit bureau, basically, starting from the experience of the banks and financial institutions there, sharing data about the community of consumers and business. So he did. He moved back to Italy and he tried to replicate the same success, the same story. And this is how it started more than 30 years ago. Wow. And then the empire developed. And I'm very happy I've been part of these journeys, more or less, not since the beginning, but a lot of journey, helping him in developing the abroad branches. As it stands at the moment, CRIF is present in 35 countries around the world. And we serve every day 1 million consumer, 90,000 companies, 600 insurance, and something like 10,500 financial institutions.
So how many countries did it start off with serving, and how have you seen that grow over the years?
We started exactly from the UK.
Oh, wow.
This was mainly 1997, 2000. And the UK was a real good pioneer for us because we started with techie distributed services over the internet as a software as a service for insurance companies. And then we developed a lot in the finance industry. And then we ended up here in open banking, open finance, and investment on the future of ITs and techies on the basis that CRIF has valued the investment on IT researching and innovation a lot. Every year we spend, in the story of CRIF, we had 200 million of investment in developing new products and new services. Open banking, open data is one of these.
Amazing. So not only has the company grown, but you've grown with it, which is very, very lovely to hear. And now you are regional director of the UK and Ireland.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit more about your role at CRIF and how it works.
My role and how this works. I am the lucky of having very capable people working with me, and the team is spread over Dublin, London, Bologna, Milan. I have people sitting there, and I'm trying to yes, very international. Yes. And I have a deep commuter outside of Italy. I'm here today. I was in Dublin last week, coping with customers and with my team.
And so you've traveled a lot with your job as well?
Yes, a lot. Yeah. And this means a lot to me. I love traveling. I love my job. I do it with a lot of passion, but all that glitters is not gold to some extent, as it's hard work. It has always been hard work.
Yeah.
It has always been sacrifices, and also sometimes flights are late at night and you cannot go back to kids and family. And you miss the train, and then you have to stay there for the night. There is a conjunction due to the storms, and then you have to wait in Frankfurt for the next flight. So it's a lot of also personal...
It's a lot of logistics.
Yes, lots of logistics, lots of organization as well.
Yeah. I'm sure the British weather doesn't really help on that either, does it?
No, definitely not.
So you touched on your kind of sacrifices there that you've had to make. Is there anything that's stood out for you in particular throughout this year as being at CRIF, and kind of what challenges you've had to face, or even how you've had to overcome them?
I think this is the time for the joke I wanted to tell. I have a personal experience when I started my very first day at job, not in CRIF, but overall. And it was a very male environment. I was, I think, one of the few female employees at those time. And my manager gave me a screwdriver and a big server. And you asked me, please now, you deassemble it and reassemble it again. Bear in mind, I could not use a phone to make a picture and try and replicate the picture or the image. I could not download instructions from the internet, because at those time we didn't have smartphones, we didn't have easy, handy internet to use.
Yeah.
So I did. I tried. I started and assembled all the chassis and the internal part, the video card, and the motherboard, and the CPU, whatever. All this, and I did it perfectly. And then I moved it back again.
Wow.
I think I would have failed
Amazing.
there.
Yeah,
and then I tried
definitely failed that task.
Yes, I tried to switch it on, and it exploded. And I said, oh my God.
Wow.
Ah, wow. I did not know whether this was not working since the beginning, but this was clearly not working.
Yeah.
So, but since then, I learned that mistakes are human, are doable. And if you don't do things, then you don't do mistakes, and then you cannot progress. So I thought that this was a good learning of
learning from your mistakes.
Yes, learning from my mistakes, forgive for the mistakes, forgiving myself and the rest of the team for the mistakes. And the real important thing is keep on trying and keep on working and believing in it and progressing.
That's amazing. I guess, you really have to make your own sort of journey in that instance. So you really got to learn from your mistakes, go back, try again. How has that kind of played out for CRIF, for example? Throughout building its empire, as you mentioned, what have been sort of the journey that CRIF has taken, and I guess now looking ahead to the future, what does that journey look like, and what's kind of coming next for CRIF?
It started, I think that the president had a very clear idea of thinking big. So he started in Italy with a credit bureau that is the main one. He developed alternative business lines, and he tried and replicate the key areas of success, that is basically data and building software on top of data to help the customers in their everyday decision-making process. This has always been the guideline. And this has occurred during a journey that has been gone through both developing and internal growth and acquisition. So this has come at the same sort of pace. So we have lots of success due to internal developed projects and as well as acquisition that the president made around the world. Geography-wise, it was led by Europe first, and then outside of Europe countries like Far East in Asia, and North America and United States. And this is how the adventure came on and on. In terms of future elements of this, as I said, innovation is very key for the company. And there are three main pillars that we are building on. The first one, of course, is open banking and open data, as we strongly believe, having reached 10 million consumers connected to the open banking services in the UK only.
Yeah,
it's very key for the finance industry and for where CRIF wants to be. The other one is absolutely artificial intelligence on the basis of using the Gen AI to improve our services and make sure that our services for the customers are more effective and even cheaper. And last but not least is, of course, ESG and the pathway through the ESG. As what we have found out through analysis and research are that all the indicators linked to ESG, environment, social governance, are really directly connected to the traditional risk indicators of a company. That is the credit bureau score or the loss ratio for an insurance or all the risk assessment element of a company. So the better you behave in terms of ESG, the better you are in terms of a traditional way of scoring. And this is something that we want to move on and on.
On that note of ESG, have you felt that it's become more prevalent as kind of a topic or issue for CRIF to discuss and really push forward? I know that, for instance, the social factor of ESG and sustainability as a whole is ensuring that the development of CRIF is going to kind of be benefiting the present population without affecting the future as well. How is it that you've kind of addressed the social aspect of ESG within CRIF? Is it helping vulnerable customers, or what kind of stuff have you touched on there?
There are elements of the policy of CRIF that could benefit our customers and our customers in our everyday job. And at the same time, we have internal policies that would suggest that we are very keen in developing the ESG policy within the company. From the first side, we have, of course, developed and we are developing indicators that could reach our customers and our customers towards a better integration and a better serving on the underserved population or the those part of the population that traditionally are not reachable. Whilst on the internal side, I'm very proud to say that working for CRIF gave all the diversity a lot of opportunities, not just in sex, gender equality, but also in the diversity of religion, races, and investment in people that would jointly, culturally be integrated within working for the company.
Yeah, I think that's especially important, seeing that, as you were saying, you came from a very male-dominated job at starting in science to then move into something that's the financial industry is typically quite male-heavy. However, it's really enlightening to see that there are companies out there that are really trying to progress it. And again, as you said, with vulnerable populations or the underserved, it seems like the first pillar you were talking about, that open banking, the open data concept, is really trying to pull in and address the needs of vulnerable customers and the underserved for, you know, say they have a poor credit risk or credit file because they missed their last phone bill. But with the use of open banking, you can then kind of help them get the loan or whatever they deserve because they're able to look at that transaction history.
There is
a very great use case.
There is a very interesting element around this because there are researches that have proven that the usage of open data that is even wider than open banking, because open banking is basically looking at the bank account
Banking
transactions.
information only.
Open data is looking at a wider spectrum of data, like the pensions, the mortgage, situation about insurance and health, etc. So we found out that using the open data have two important pillars and benefit for the society. One of these is enhancing the GDP of a country. And the study proved that the GDP of a yearly state, as a country, as the UK, could be added by £35 billion in just if we think of added value services related to open data.
Yeah.
This means basically giving access to underserved population or developing added value services on top. The other important point is to reach exactly those parts of population that are not served at the moment. And this study proved to be something like 150,000 new customers every year. And this is a big portion of people that can be helped.
Yeah.
On the other side, the open data, we have a lot of development in the traditional open banking. And there are researches that prove that the open banking is something that the population wants. We have developed statistics, and these statistics say that in 2024, 62% of the population aged between 18 and 34 wants definitely to have, they want to share their data to receive personalized,
And
bespoke
better value
services. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the impact that it would have is huge, like you were just saying. And obviously what you're mentioning there, I think, is like the end state that we're all kind of looking towards. And I guess my question would probably be a little bit around how you balance sort of from your pillars. You mentioned Gen AI and the open data. How do those two things sort of coincide there, and how is CRIF kind of utilising AI in that sense?
We are using AI and Gen AI based on the data that we have. Of course, be very respectful when it comes to work and respect of work, but at the same time adding quality to what we deliver and what we do. Adding those elements that could be beneficial for our customers, that the customers could get elsewhere, but we want to make it better. We want to make it cheaper and more effective
the
for the customer.
efficiency piece of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the efficiency piece.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. If you were to sort of sum up the challenges that directly relate to the services that CRIF provides from your customers, what would they be? How would you summarize that, do you think?
Challenge of our customers, so CRIF customers. It's a quite complex question. I think that the challenge for them would be to serve their customers better, stay competitive, being innovative and attract with innovation new customers, a new portion of customers, but at the same time protect themselves from fraud, for example, or monitoring the customer portfolio to make sure that the customer portfolio is still very valuable. They have, of course, internal problem of effectiveness and efficiency, but at the same time they have to grow revenues, and they have to compete in a very competitive world. So,
yeah.
How would you say CRIF kind of tries to maintain itself and stay competitive in the market? Would you say it's down to the innovation that you described, or
it's down to on one side innovate and being cutting edge every time that we do something, being very also smart in integrating what we have, and make sure that we can get the best of what we have always, ever. I think that the key success of this, or the key success of CRIF has always been acting as a big multinational company, but at the same time keep the capability of deciding fast, have a very short line of command, avoid bureaucracy, and make sure that we can still be very fintech, if you like.
Yeah, reactive.
Yeah.
I think in this kind of industry at the moment, it's so fast-paced and ever-evolving that you do just have to stay on top of your toes. And it sounds like CRIF is really doing that with those 3 pillars. And it's really great to see, and it's an exciting time for sure for CRIF.
It's both. It's being proactive and innovative, but at the same time having the real solidity of a big company that can sustain the customer and is there, stable, strong, still ready to go. And financially stable.
Yeah, amazing. I think we're both excited to see what's next for CRIF. I'd love to take you again sort of back into your personal journey, just to understand a little bit more about you and your background. So you mentioned obviously you started in science and now kind of started with the company, built its empire, and now obviously as a regional director. What are sort of you mentioned a little bit around your lessons learned, but are there any other kind of key moments that stick out to you? Maybe something that you're particularly proud of, or maybe another lessons learned, for example. What key moments stick out for you throughout sort of your journey so far?
I think there is another little report that I want to quote, a little article that comes from a McKinsey study that has been recently published. And this McKinsey study said that basically before we reach the sex and the gender equality in management of a company, we have still to wait for other 48 years. It's quite a long way to go.
Yeah,
that's far too long.
Far too long, yeah. And as well as this McKinsey study say that the difference between managers in the companies, between male and female management is still the gap is very huge, still 20% of gap. So my little stepping stone lesson learned in my career, I think that we as women, I think we need to stop thinking that we will be judged or we will be considered using male attributes. And I think that my best performance or something that I've been proud of is more when I started to value the female characteristics that we have and the strengths that we have being women. It means basically valuing a lot the aspect of being very capable in languages and communication, for example, or being very emotional and
being empathetic,
empathetic and using our emotional intelligence on the other side.
Yeah, listening. That's a very good one.
And being very intuitive and using the sixth sense.
Yeah.
So these are all the soft skills that are outside of the computer science degree and outside of the very hard skills that you can get alongside the career. But it's something that can make the difference in those specific moments when you have to make a decision, where you're just on your own, waiting for a decision, and you just try and find it in your deep resources that are very peculiar to women.
So how did you start to kind of like embody that, or like, I guess, be more proud of it throughout your career? Because you mentioned you're starting to embrace it more. Was there like sort of just a conscious decision that you made one day, you were like, right, I'm going to do it? Or do you think kind of takes time, you kind of lean into it every day a little bit more maybe?
I have another story to tell.
I'm loving all these stories. They're great.
I think I was probably 11, 12 years old. And I was studying at night because of the test the morning after. And it was very dark in the house. But there was the light on in my parents' bedroom. And then I just moved into the door to switch the light off. And I found that there was a newspaper. There was a company newspaper with a woman on the picture on the front page. And I think that moment was very peculiar to me, because I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but what I want is exactly a picture like this on a newspaper in the future.
Aww.
And it was not a fashionable newspaper, so I didn't mean to be the model, even if I could not do it, the top model, of course. So this was a sort of inspiration I took as a sort of inspiration and guide. So I found myself probably in that position in the society, and I've worked to try and accomplish that position. I wanted to be somehow important for the society. I wanted to have a role that could benefit the society. I wanted to be an example. I wanted to be a leader that could have been followed because of what I could have told, developed, taught, or brought as a contribution.
Have you ever had a particular person that you've looked up to as a leader? I mean, now you've got such an amazing leadership role, but has there ever been someone, whether it's your childhood or your career, where you've thought, yeah, I'm going to work my way up to something like that?
I had leaders in the past that I looked after. One was probably Marchionne from the Chrysler and Fiat Group. The other one was an old business lady called Marisa Bellisario in Italy that did a huge career and a huge revolution within the industry in Italy. And 30 years ago, she was considered to be the guru in Italy around this. I had, of course, examples in the family to some extent that I followed. I had examples in my current president and manager, because I think it has been a great mentor to me. But I took inspiration, I think, from all the female teachers that I had around, and all the female colleagues and partners that I've worked with. So I tried and take a little bit of inspiration from all the women that are around me and all the characters that I feel engaged with.
Yeah. And it's nice to hear. It sounds like CRIF is relatively balanced now in terms of gender and...
Yes.
Have you seen that change over the years? Is that something that's...
To be fair with you, it has always been like this.
It
has always been like this. I don't think we have ever needed to fill the gap because the law suggested us to do it. The HR director is a woman. The finance director is a woman. It has always been like this. We have always had this sort of idea of being very balanced in the company, like 50-50 with a role of... could have been easily mixed up and joined up together, working together.
And I want to take it back to you talking about, obviously, you're in a leadership role now and you have been for a very long time. How have you managed to maintain those qualities as CRIF has grown? Like, how have you managed to still be such a great leader and inspiration to everyone despite the company becoming bigger and bigger with all these acquisitions?
This is personally due to me and my team. I think that my biggest effort has been in trying and choose the first line of report and make sure that they could learn the way and do things in the quality that I expect to be reached according to the company paradigm. And then they did all the rest. I mean, I'm surrounded by talents that are now running on their own and they're just doing whatever they have to do.
Yeah, that you've created. It's amazing. You can take credit for that.
I probably have mentored them. Probably I've...
you've got to give yourself credit. You're probably their role model, and, you know, it kind of flips around, doesn't it? What key kind of piece of advice would you have to someone that is kind of aiming to be a leader right now?
Work hard. And I think probably I will use one of the Barack Obama, my preferred speech of him, where he basically said that in a company, it does not matter what kind of role you are engaged with. If you want to be noticed, just say, I'll take care of it. I'll do it. So be accountable, be responsible, go for it. And someone will notice you. So I think that there's no magic wand, no magic recipe around this, but just work hard, be passionate, and be reliable in what you do.
Just do it. Good old Nike.
Amazing. So at the end of every podcast, Sara, we normally do a set of fire round questions. So we'd love to take you to the first set of the fire round.
Oh my God.
Brace
Don't
yourselves.
be scared. Don't be scared. The first question is, what do you want to be known for?
I think, as I said, I would like to be known as a person or a leader or a woman that made a difference and can be of inspiration for other person or other women that want to follow the way. But I have, again, another little story to tell. And this is due to Federica, my director in marketing and communication in the region. She gave me a mug for my tea every day. And the mug reports one of the TV star back to probably 1980s. This TV series was an American one that is called Wonder Woman. And she keeps on calling me the Wonder Woman stuff. So probably just as a laugh, I think it could be nice to be remembered as another Wonder Woman for my, let's say, determination, passion, strengths, whatever. So this is a joke from the office.
Oh, I love that.
That's a good one, yeah. I'm waiting for my mug from Panisse.
You'll get your mug soon.
Yeah. I think the next question is, if you had to change anything about the industry, what would it be?
I think this is a complex question because there are things that cannot be changed. I mean, the fact that in a woman's life, the desire of motherhood or a family exactly collides with the same time where you have to work hard to be accredited. This is something that you cannot change. Or the fact that even if when the family has grown or the kids are grown, then you have to take care of the eldest. This is something that you cannot change too much because it's part and parcel of the nature. Mm-hmm. But what probably I would like to change is the cultural aspect around this, is probably the elements of help that can be given to the women in terms of taking care of the family and taking care of the child. If things can be spread or more equally spread in the family by law, by design, by cultural acceptation, by society. This probably will work better, just like the Nordics do. I mean, Sweden, Norway, they are quite good examples of how the social aspect of it can be managed. Industry-wise, I would say, and I would suggest probably wider openness to STEM careers at university in terms of women travel journeys or career journeys, and being very open, industry-wise, being very open to career paths that are open to women as well as men.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely could do with, opening more doors and
having that diversity of thought.
Yeah.
The sixth sense.
It's so important. Yeah. No, I love that. And I think the last question is just around any recommendations you have for our listeners. So whether it's a book, a podcast, you don't have to say this one. But yeah,
waiting for that.
Is there anything that, you would recommend to our listeners for inspiration, I guess?
There is a book I had the chance to read when I was at university, a book that is by Virginia Woolf, by the way, so it's a local author. Whose title is A Room of One's Own. This book has touched me a lot because what basically the author said is that a woman, to be successful, need to rely on a room. And the room has a lot of meanings, lots of significance, on the basis that is interpreted as being financially independent, at the same time having something that is a physical room within the Victorian house where you can dedicate your time to, where you can stay, where you can shut the door, close the door and be inside, just like men used to do it. But the room on your own is also a personal space where you can be yourself, you can develop yourself, you can leave room to passions and ultimately grow and develop as you like. So this is a 1929 book, but it's still very, actually still very modern.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you've definitely managed to do that throughout your career and just share your passion with everyone else, which is just amazing. And it's also great that all our listeners can now hear that as well and hear your journey.
Yeah, it's been amazing to hear, everything that you've experienced, and we're, I think, super excited to know what's next for CRIF and yourself. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.